I played today 18, and I played a Brabazon trophy here, and I can't remember the year. I mean, it was a good 11, 12, 13 years ago. It's funny because a lot of the names in that tournament on the leaderboard are names that you see nowadays. And I liked it. I liked it from the beginning. It was one of my first experiences of links golf. It's a little bit different to what we play in the open rotation. I think it's those fairway bunkers, a lot more pino. A lot of those greenside bunkers, a lot more pino. So you have to obviously hit it really well, tee to green. It's a bit of added pressure. It's a lot of holes. We're on 14 right now. This 14th hole is a very difficult second shot. 12, very difficult tee shot on second shot. So at first glance, surprised of how low they've shot here in the past, but really happy because I like the golf course. Well, it was very dry and firm and yellow that year, so you could get away with not hitting drivers in a lot of holes. Today, I played early. It was wet. There was some holes where I hit drivers and I didn't get it to any bunkers, so I was hitting it on the same spots he was hitting the irons. So I understand what he was trying to do, which is basically keep it just short of the bunkers and take on with longer clubs, but give himself a more percentage shot, which when the greens are firm, I get it, makes sense, have a little bit more control of the fairway. I don't know what I'll be doing. You know, the game has evolved since then. When Rory played in 2014, he hit a lot of drivers. It's gotten to a point nowadays where if you can hit driver, you're gonna have to a lot of times just because of not only you, but somebody's gonna be able to do it, right? So it's a little bit different game than when was played in 2006. It's England. It's right next to the channel too, so I don't really look at what the forecast says because it changes so fast, right? I'm hoping, you know, we still see certain weather conditions because it's the Open, so there's always going to be wind. Hopefully rain is fair, right? But like always, there's always going to be a wave that's benefited more than the other. So it doesn't look like he's going to play extremely fast or extremely firm just because the rain and a little bit of the moisture should stay around. But you never know. That's the thing. You never know how it's going to be. But I think it's going to play somewhat similar to what he did in 14. Yes. That's all I can say. It's anytime you can do something for the first time since Seve did it, it's obviously a very big deal. It's crazy that Sergio and Ollie and many other great players that had a chance didn't get to do it for Spain. But it's not easy, right? It's not easy. So it would be a true honor to be able to join Seve's name on that list of Open champions. And even aside from that, just being able to call yourself an Open champion is so unique, so special. It's, to me, the most prestigious tournament we have in golf, and there's nothing like it. It's always good. It's always amazing when we come to this side of the world. The respect and knowledge for the game is so much higher than anywhere else, and the fans know it. It's the only tournament in the world where we get celebrated for hitting a shot, sometimes even a wedge shot to 30 feet, just because they understand the conditions and how difficult it can be, right? So if you just hit it on the green, no matter where you are, you most of the time will get claps. Sometimes you make a 5 or a bogey and they understand that it was a good 5, right? There's a difference, and it's really, really fun to play here. I'm not gonna lie, whatever people say doesn't really make a difference. I'm most likely gonna have higher expectations than most people have about me either way. So, and luckily, I've been playing good for the last few years, and you know, it's kind of not become the norm, but I've heard that a few times, so you get used to it. But whether people think you're gonna win or not, I still come out here to win. So, you know, obviously Rory and Scotty might be a bit more of a favorites because they've been playing better lately, but I'm glad people still think I have a chance. It's golf. All 150 of us have a chance. That's a beautiful thing about this game. When you tee off on Thursday, we're all on equal ground, and that's it. Weather aside. There's a difference in weather, but you know, nobody would have expected, let's say, Tom Watson to do as well as he did in 2009, Greg Norman to do as well as he did in 2008 at Birkdale, right? So those are just circumstances that you can't foresee and can only happen in open golf. So it really is anybody. If I have to say one player, which I know they want me to say one player at least, you have to say Rory because of what he did last week and how good he's playing this year. Yeah, I like to get advice from past champions and players that have done well. obviously we all hit the golf ball a different way, we all play golf a different way, but there's always little things that you can learn, right? So yeah, it's always nice to ask for a little bit of advice, see what they consider they did well that week or what they think that needs to be done. I don't know what else to say. Sometimes I still wake up in the morning and realize that I won the Masters this year. It's crazy. The one thing I keep thinking about is just being able to join my other 3 fellow major champions from Spain and join that group, right? You become part of let's say fraternity of golfers that's very, very special. As the only major that's played on the same golf course every year. I think it's a bit of a different feeling to it just because we all know the golf course, we all play it, and just to come out on top is very, very special. For me, if we're talking about especially about the week, just to have to deal with the weather conditions I had to deal with and play as good as I did is what makes it so special. My thoughts, winning, expectations, winning. Yeah, that's all I can say. You know, it's such a fun event. It's so different to what we do throughout the year. And to be able to represent our continent, our countries, and play golf for European golf and do an exhibition, because at the end of the day it is an exhibition, nobody's getting paid, and we're playing for the love of the game and the love of our nations, right? So it's a lot of fun to be able to be a part of that. We have teammates, we're celebrating with each other, right? It's very different, and you know, we're looking forward to getting that cup back in European soil. So I have a GLS this week. It's not that relaxing when I'm driving on the other side of the road. It's very stressful, but after a few days you get used to it. In my case, you know, my favorite car to drive still at home. I know it's not the most popular choice, but still the G-Wagon. As my daily driver, I always drive that car, and that's what I'm gonna keep driving until I can get my hands on the EQG, and then still be a G-Wagon, but it'll be a little different one. I've not met him. I've followed his career, right? The last few years has been incredible. To be, what is it, the youngest #1 player in the world in tennis, which you can't say that likely with the 3 great players we had ahead. And with Rafa's shadow on Spanish tennis as well, right? To go and win the US Open, now win Wimbledon, and still stay the #1 with Novak playing at the level he's been playing, it's pretty incredible. Do what he did in that final, right? First final on center court in Wimbledon, and beat basically, I know it's hard for me to say as a Rafa fan, and probably for a lot of people who hear, but beat the best player ever in tennis after losing that first set 6-1 is quite incredible. The determination and strength he showed in all those third sets and come back, and then, you know, even after losing the 4th one, come back in the 5th one and get it done was quite impressive. So my hat's off. His future is very, very, very bright. You know, now when we, as a tennis fan, you're kind of wondering, you know, Rafa is coming to an end, Federer is done. Djokovic obviously might have a few years left, but you're thinking, what might be the next big thing for somebody like him to come up and just burst into the scene like that was very, very special. So really happy for him, and hopefully he has a very long and great career.